Hello students, today we will study about contemporary South Asia, which is chapter 5 of Political Science class 12th textbook, Contemporary World Politics. Before we start, let us know in brief about South Asia. Emergence of independent nations in Asia and Africa was an important feature of post-World War II period. India's struggle for independence had become a source of inspiration for other enslaved countries. After India got her independence, Myanmar became free in 1948 and even Sri Lanka also got its independence. Creation of Pakistan happened because India got partitioned. Bangladesh was a part of Pakistan. Nepal was situated between India and China. And all these countries constitute South Asia. These South Asian countries were suffering from poverty, hunger, disease, illiteracy, etc. because they were under foreign rule. Now, the two prominent countries of this region, India and Pakistan, are armed with nuclear weapons. And so, South Asia becomes an important region for study. What is South Asia? Let us answer this question again. So, these are the countries which make South Asia. Okay, see, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, all these countries are neighbors to each other and they make the region of South Asia. There is a considerable scope of mutual cooperation in this region. Have a look at the 7 South Asian countries. South Asia is the region that includes countries lying south of Himalayas and surrounded by the Indian Ocean in the south, Arabian Sea on the west, and Bay of Bengal in the east. So these countries, let us look at the previous slide, these countries are very well insulated because they have Himalayas, they have the Indian Ocean, Arabian Sea and West of Bengal, which protects these countries from foreign invasion. It is not very easy to invade. Okay. This region is marked by many types of seasons and various kinds of climates, because of which it has a varied vegetation, minerals and forests of widely different types. From the viewpoint of economy, resources and strategic position, South Asia is very important region of Asia. All the countries here were colonies that became independent in 1945. We studied that. They have no clearly demarcated international borders as they were under one colonial rule. Okay, their disputes continue due to arbitrarily defined borders only. See the border between India and Bangladesh. If you see, then it is not very clearly defined. Even Pakistan and India, it is just a fence that is demarcating the border. And so this is a problem also, and this is kind of a geographical setup of these countries. These countries also have disputes sharing river waters because they belong to the same area. So obviously, rivers flow from one border to the other, and they create dispute among these countries. They have ethnic tribes, diverse cultures and religions, and so ethnic strides on resource sharing and insurgency also keep taking place. Domestic politics determines conflicts and cooperation in South Asia. Insurgency and wars have characterized the region. So these are the important features you can say of this region of South Asia. Geography of the region we have already studied. We have studied about the insularity, the main geographical insularity of the region. China is also clearly separated by Himalayas. It is not a part of South Asia, but it is important because it's a huge nation very close to the South Asian countries. Okay, we've already studied about Indian Ocean in the south, the Bay of Bengal, Himalayas in the north, how they protect this nation and give it a distinctive identity. Political systems in South Asia are different in every country, and although democracy is the main feature of all countries, every country wants to establish democracy or already has a well-established democracy in the region. There are parliamentary democracies in India and Sri Lanka, presidential democracy in Maldives, Bangladesh, monarchy in Bhutan, Nepal. Military rule in Bangladesh was East Pakistan from 1947 to 1971, and so there was military rule there. But now there is multi-party based presidential form of government. Military dictatorship was there in Pakistan also, but even today, Pakistan has also tried to convert it into a democratic system. Okay, so we'll study more about these countries separately, and you will know more about their political system when we study them individually. Aspirations of democracy. A recent survey of attitudes of people in the 5 big countries of the region show that there is widespread support for democracy in these regions, and these regions now want to become a democratic country, countries of these regions. So there is the preferred system of government now is democracy. Seeing the neighboring countries also, especially India, which has a successful democracy since 1947, since it got independent, that the people of this the other countries are inspired by India, and they want that in their countries should also follow democracy. Okay. Next, we are going to study about the military and democracy in Pakistan. So in Pakistan, the first person to rule over Pakistan from 1956 to 1958 was Iskandar Ali Mirza. Okay. After whom came General Ayub Khan, and then he ruled till from 1958 to 1969, followed by General Yahya Khan, who in whose time the war happened between Pakistan and Bangladesh, in which India was also involved, and Bangladesh was born. Then came Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and he tried to bring in democracy into the country from 1971 to 77, but he was also overpowered by the military, and General Ziaul Haq was disposed Bhutto and in a military coup and declared martial law in 1977. He faced a lot of pro-democracy movements from 1982, and then Benazir Bhutto established democracy again. In the period that followed, Pakistan politics entered around competition between her party, the Pakistan's People's Party, and the Muslim League. This phase of elective democracy lasted till 1999. Then again, military stepped in and Nawaz Sharif was removed, and General Pervez Musharraf, he got himself elected as president. So this was forced election, and he got himself elected by the president. Pakistan continues to be ruled by the army, though the army rulers have held some elections to give their rule a democratic image. So army has a say in the working of Pakistan, but at the present, from 2018 onwards, it is Imran Khan who is the prime minister of Pakistan, and the system of government that is followed in Pakistan is a federal parliamentary constitutional republic, just like the one we follow in India. So in Pakistan is trying to follow democracy, although the army does have a big say in the ruling of Pakistan. So at present, Imran Ahmad Khan is the prime minister. Prime minister is known as Tehreek-e-Insaf. Okay, so there are various reasons why the Pakistani democracy, building a stable democracy in Pakistan, is not very successful, and there are reasons for its failures. Okay, so let us know what are the reasons for its failures. This is one of the basic reasons for its failures. This is the hold of Muslim clergymen. There is a saying that the 3 pillars which sustain governments in Pakistan are Allah, that is the clergymen, okay, army, that is military, and America. Allah, clergymen are people who work for the who work in the religious organizations. ठीक है, तो वहां के जो अल्लाह को जो मानते हैं या जो वहां के मौलवी वगैरह है, उन लोगों को बोला जा रहा है कि उनका बहुत से है इन दी डेमोक्रेसी और इन दी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान. मिलिट्री का तो है ही, और साथ ही साथ यूएस का भी बहुत प्रेशर है, ये मानते हैं वहां के लोग. There has always been a hold of clergymen over politics in Pakistan, and India's partition was based on Muslim League's communal agenda. Second reason that the Pakistan failed in building a stable democracy was the reliance on army. Since the very beginning, anti-Indian strategy रहती है पाकिस्तान की, उसकी वजह से उसको अपनी आर्मी को बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग करना पड़ता है, और आर्मी की भी सारी बातें पाकिस्तान मानता है. इंटरनेशनल प्रेशर नहीं है बहुत ज्यादा पाकिस्तान के ऊपर. In the United States and other Western countries continue to prop up Pakistan's military regimes because they feel that the United States has been supplying more sophisticated weapons and fighter planes also to Pakistan. Pakistan is a nuclear power. In case its nuclear weapons falls in the hands of the terrorists, that would be a disaster for the whole of South Asia. इसलिए terrorism को control पे रखने के लिए military का strong रखना जरूरी है. ये मानती है international countries, Western countries. Okay. इसीलिए they don't want that Pakistan should start a democracy. Stronghold of terrorists है, Pakistan has become a stronghold of terrorists. ठीक है, इसलिए Al-Qaeda, Taliban regime, Al-Qaeda, all these have some or the other connection with Pakistan. That is also why they want that military rule should be there, so that there is a fear in the minds of the terrorists also. The brutal murder of 132 school children at Peshawar in December 2014 was the most crucial thing to happen even in this age of terror. So because of these kind of reasons also, democracy does not become very successful in Pakistan. Another thing is a lack of charismatic leader. Democracy में बहुत जरूरी होता है कि जो लीडर है वो बहुत charismatic हो, उसका पब्लिक के साथ एक कनेक्ट बन सके. हमारे जैसे फर्स्ट लीडर थे जवाहरलाल नेहरू, बहुत charismatic थे. हमारी इंदिरा गांधी बहुत charismatic थी. अभी मोदी जी भी बहुत charismatic है. Where there is a kind of a connect with the public. The public needs to like the leader. Only then a democracy will be sustained. And that is what is not there in Pakistan. Now with the coming of Imran Khan, maybe his charisma and maybe his popularity will take Pakistani democracy to another level. Okay. So this is a cartoon which is there in your textbook, and this shows the dual role of Pakistan's ruler Pervez Musharraf as the president and as army general. All right. And the cartoon speaks about dominance of one person military more than that of the president. It shows that nation that Pervez Musharraf wants to command the administration and military of the country to strengthen its power. So shows how the military and parliament presidentialship works together in Pakistan. Okay, so this was about Pakistan and how Pakistan is trying its best to become a democratic country, and since 2018 it has been successful in this effort. Let us see how long Pakistan is able to sustain a democratic form of government. In the next video, we will study about democracy in Bangladesh. Till then, stay home, stay safe, see this video as many times as possible. And if you want, you can ask me questions and know more about study more about this particular region of South Asia. Thank you.